You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
Yeah, I like the claps.
All right, there we go.
It's so...
Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on social media at MMMshow75. And we are back. Casey's not here this week. He is super bumming about a bunch of stuff I'm about to talk to you guys all about right now. But look who showed up. It's Jim. Jim's here. We're so happy to have him back, man. He's been working his butt off. He's one of the people out there who is currently actually employed but working from home, I'm guessing, right, Jim?
Yeah, it's been an interesting past few months with the pandemic and everything. I was furloughed for a little while, but now I'm back and getting stuff together for the people, I guess you could say.
Well, we are super happy to have you up there. As always, we have the owner of the Phantasma mask. Was that a new one?
This is the one where he beat Drake Maverick for the title.
Holy crap. Are you serious? Oh, Jim's so if you guys don't know, Jim is friends a little bit with Drake, and Beef is friends a little bit with HDF, and they've got a little rivalry going that didn't end so well for Jim.
I just like to point out the irony that I'm the one supporting the British guy, and then Beef is the one supporting the Mexican dude who
Jim, I
look Mexican,
but you're not Mexican. You can't do that to yourself.
But I live in LA, and everyone mistakes me for Mexican anyway. It's close enough.
Trust me, Byron. It is real, brother. I don't get it. I don't quite get it as much in LA as I did in Orlando, because in Orlando, everyone thought I was Puerto Rican. Everyone. People would have full 10-minute conversations with me in Spanish, and just was assumed. Nobody even would think that I was biracial or anything else. It was just 100%, you are Puerto Rican. Out here, I get it a little bit, and if I try to go down to Mexico, I have to go. I have to go with somebody else who's Latino, because otherwise people will just assume that I am. So it gets really tricky.
I got mistaken for Mexican all the time back when I was living in South Jersey, and that's in South Jersey. So
I could see that though. But I could see that. So up there, Meatloaf, over there at Byron Fever. What's going on?
I also have Hijo del Fantasma mask. This one was the one that was used to headbutt Drake Maverick.
Yeah. And Dono, he didn't put him through the table in that, did he? He took it off just before he did that.
He took this off and then he did it. So
guess what I have right here? I have, look at that, a bank account that still has money in it, because all I buy is brown curtains when you guys are buying tons of masks.
Yeah, but I'm selling wrestling belts.
I'm starting off hot this week, guys. I'm going right into our wall of shame. Last week we added, so I'll tell you who's on the wall of shame right now. Jojo Feeney, you're still on the top of the wall of shame, brother. I don't know what the mix-up was over there at Keeping It 100, where you just totally buried us and you made us blame it on poor Kevin Kleinrock. I mean,
Kleinrock.
Nobody even knows who Kevin Kleinrock is. I mean, he worked at XPW for years, and Vinny Massaro goes on shows and talks about it all the time, and Vinny doesn't even mention Kevin Kleinrock. Nobody does, the poor guy. And then all of a sudden you're just going to throw him under the bus like that. So that we finally talk about this poor guy, and all we do is bury him because of you, Jojo Feeney. That's so wrong. I mean, poor Kevin Kleinrock has never gotten credit for anything that he's done. And then the first thing he gets credit for is screwing us over. That's a shame. How long's he been in the business for just nobody to know him except for when he gets buried?
Mm-hmm.
I hate
that man runs on whatever, I don't know.
I like
non-stop.
Kevin is cool by me.
I need whatever he drinks in his coffee in the morning.
Yeah, the MMMshow is the premier pro Kevin Kleinrock podcast.
Is it? I don't know if I'd go that far.
Might be second.
It is today.
All right, maybe just because Casey's not here. Because right now, on Casey's own wall of shame, Kleinrock is still on there. We'll have to figure out what the deal is with that. But so we've also added Brit Wrestling. We'll talk about that in a minute. Brit Wrestling is still on the wall of shame. And then our buddies, Jeffrey Briggs and JT Wilcoxon from WZW, and now the newly filed trademark for Lucha Underground Wrestling.
Yeah.
They are absolutely still on the list. And if you don't know what's going on, go back and listen to last week's show. This bonehead out in Detroit or Wisconsin or somewhere back in the Midwest decided he was going to buy Lucha Underground from its current owners and file a trademark and restart Lucha Underground Wrestling with a lot of the old talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
they're going to be on the shit list until they replace Jack Swagger as champ.
And look, I'm going to talk shit on this guy until the day that he actually opens up Lucha Underground and hires me to be the booker.
Is
and
that his name this week, though?
What's that?
Has he changed his name? Hasn't he changed his name already?
I don't even know.
How is he going to get a luchador to Milwaukee?
I don't know. I don't know what the
Alice Cooper
is. I really hope it's what we were talking about before, that somebody else is really just ribbing him and saying that they're going to sell it to him. So he's investing money and trying to file trademarks. And I hope to God he actually thinks that he's reopening Lucha Underground.
We should prank
that
call
would be
him.
the best.
The contract spells Lucha, Loocha.
Lucha.
Yeah. No, we should have Kevin
Damian Roldan
and try and sell him the copyright to like Wrestle Society X.
Yeah, let's sell them all of them. Let's sell them ECW while we're at it, like, because WWE doesn't already own that. Like,
there's a lot of British promotions that don't exist anymore. So.
Oh yeah, well there you go. That's
you can pay someone to take
Brit Wrestling, or what's left of it, also still on the wall of shame. Okay, here's who I'm adding this week. This may or may not come as a surprise to anyone, and I'm adding Tessa Blanchard to the wall of shame. Tess,
Bland.
Here's my thing. I'm not even going to get into the whole accusations of racism or her dropping the N-word or any of that. Whatever. If that comes out that that's true, then she deserves to be on the wall of shame even more. If it comes out that that is unfounded, so be it, or she said something that was taken the wrong way, whatever. Don't even care. Here's my issue. You're holding the belt. You get asked to phone in a couple of interviews.
Literally phone in.
Just do them. Like we're talking about all this stuff in women's wrestling. Women's wrestling, I feel to be one of the most important things going on right now culturally. It's a super important thing. I think a lot of positive changes are happening. Here's a woman who was looked at like she was one of the boys, who was getting the respect that a lot of other women are fighting desperately to get. Mm-hmm. And then she won't do the simple thing. She's got the strap over at Impact, and she won't phone in a couple of interviews.
It's embarrassing.
Even if you're in the middle of a controversy and you know you're already going to get fired, send the interviews anyway. Do the work. God,
that's the whole thing. Like, everyone knows wrestling isn't a shoot. You're not the champ because you can beat everyone else up. You're the champ because you're representing the company to help the company succeed.
Put in the work.
You're supposed to do promos. You're supposed to promote the company. You're supposed to do something.
Yeah.
Especially in a day and age where, everything is done through video chat or whatever. Like, all she had to do was record herself on her phone, and it probably could have been like the worst quality, but they still would have taken it. That was too much.
She was still doing photo shoots. She still was doing something.
And I know she was out of the country or something, whatever, right? She's
stuck in Tijuana with Daga.
And I get that. Okay, but still, come on, man. Like, just come on. So I don't know. Like this whole other, I do want to talk a little bit about speaking out. And personally, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of a lot of stuff. What my take on speaking out is this: I'm here to listen because I'm not a woman. I can't speak for the things that they're saying have happened. I can tell you that in a position myself of being a supervising producer and a position of power in entertainment at times, I frown very strongly on a lot of the things that I'm hearing coming out about wrestling right now. And I know that these things are true to a certain extent, at least enough of them that every bit of the movement itself is 100% justified. That doesn't say anything about each specific case, but it does say that there is a systematic issue with sexism, predatory nature, favoritism, bullying, people doing casting couch-like favors. A lot of that stuff that has existed in Hollywood that was addressed with Me Too is the exact same kind of stuff that has happened in wrestling for a long time. And it's a lot harder in a lot of respects too, because there isn't necessarily one governing body that presides over any of this. You know, the motion picture industry has several unions and several governing bodies and whatnot that can help with these matters. But in wrestling, it's like, it's been an old boys club for a long time. And there are certain things that have gone along with that, like, you know, paying dues, as it's called, that some of the practices have been not good. And it also makes people feel empowered to do other things. And these guys live on the road, and they live very carny lifestyles, as we like to say a lot of times. And that breeds a certain mentality in a lot of people that is unhealthy. But I have to say this, that as a wrestling fan, I know it bums out a lot of wrestling fans. You hear that one of your favorites was involved in one of these things. Don't let it deter you from loving what is still there, from you loving what you like about it. Because as fans, I feel like we have a responsibility to make sure that wrestling does endure this, that the changes happen, and that the people who are putting the money into it are getting what we want out of it without this kind of mentality behind it. And I think that we all as fans have the ability to help facilitate that happening. I don't think that people should be turning off wrestling programs right now just because certain things are happening. And know that there are promotions out there that are just dealing with it head on, like FSW. I commend them, a smaller promotion in Vegas that has taken immediate action. And I know a lot of people out there are in the innocent until proven guilty kind of world of this thing. But what you have to understand is most of these contracts and these companies also have a moralities clause, which means that if you have done something of questionable moral intent that could reflect badly on the whole promotion, that they can suspend you immediately without pay. It's not a court of law. These are businesses. People have signed these contracts that state that. And if they're found out that there wasn't an issue, they will fully be allowed to come back to those companies and may even get a portion of their income that they didn't receive because of it. But it does give them the right and power legally to just suspend those people immediately for breaking a moralities clause. So all of the innocent until proven guilty stuff, sorry, bro, it doesn't fly here.
They won't do anything like suspending it, because automatically that does create an air of suspicion from a fan base and from media. But they won't do anything with a lot of smoke. And when they get to the end of that, there's usually a fire.
Yeah, and look, some of these some people may deserve an apology at the end of all this. It may have been completely an error, or somebody who just didn't like them trying to get back at them. That is the cost of doing business for social change a lot of times. That sometimes there's going to be things that step out of the side, step out of the lines and cause issues. But at the same time, a lot of these things are going to be found to be true, and a lot of people are going to go down, and a lot of things are going to change, and it's unfortunate. And some of those people are going to be some of our favorites that we have supported in the past. Then they're going to be in this weird foggy Benoit scenario of like, yeah, that was my guy back in the day, but then it ended so horribly that I don't feel like I can still like that or whatever. We're all going to have to just take that on and accept it, and then move on with whatever is left, and hopefully a positive light. And I think that can happen. I love what Tony Khan is all about all around. I just have to say that. Like, I so appreciate Tony Khan. He's ready to deal with stuff head on. He's ready to help victims, to help people who are in a position to have done something poorly, like the Sammy G situation. I can comment on that because both sides have come out. Sammy clearly said what he said. It's on the podcast. It was, it doesn't matter if it was unfortunate. If it was a joke, if he planned it to sound a certain different way. I get that Sammy is very good at being a heel, and that was probably his intent. Doesn't matter. The way he said it was just absolutely wrong. And Tony Khan and the people over at AEW did not hesitate for even a second to deal with it head on and just say, look, Sammy, I'm sorry, you were getting pushed last week. You're getting thrown out this week. You need to go get help. You need to do this and this and this, and we'll talk after it and see if there's anything we can make out of this. But I think that was the appropriate action in that particular case. I think that there's other cases that deserve way, way harsher treatment and legal action. I think there's some that are less relevant than that. I think it's a broad spectrum, but I think that all these speaking out stories probably need to get told. I absolutely love the fact that that women and people who have been in these situations are feeling like they were in a place to be able to say what their truth is and what their story is. I just think it's the healthiest thing. And I know that in our society right now, people have this time and this headspace to actually wrap their heads around things that maybe they should have done before or sooner. Don't care that they didn't. I don't care if these things go back 10, 20, 30 years. Coming out now and being able to say these things now is super important. And I, whether it's publicly, whether it's personally or privately to just another confidant or person that you can trust and believe in, it is so healthy for all of us that we as fans understand what has been going on this whole time, and that we as fans don't want it to continue. The people in the business want to feel safe and protected. People going to shows and visiting and that are fans of wrestlers or even enamored with a wrestler should still be able to feel safe and be able to speak their truth about any issues that they have undergone thus far. And hopefully half this stuff can get, a stop put to it immediately. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I kind of liken this to the Me Too movement and other areas of entertainment where it's just, this is like, none of this is new. Like, it's not like we just found out Kevin Spacey was, doing something he shouldn't be doing. I've been reading about that for 20 years. Weinstein, casting couches were
50s,
became
30s.
So known. It was like, it became a joke. And then
they put it in Scream. Scream 3?
In one of his movies, yes.
Yeah. And then and with wrestling, it's always been there. And we had talked about how it is very overwhelming and it will ruin your day. It is depressing to read all the details of the suffering, and on top of the suffering, how you're suffocated by having to be silent about it. It's awful and it's overwhelming. But as a fan, there's such a silver lining to this, to where there's going to be on the other side of this something better for everyone. And we're cleaning out, hopefully, a lot of the trash, a lot of the stuff that makes us ashamed, or a lot of stuff we turn a blind eye to, and we can feel better about being fans afterwards. But we go around celebrating things like the sleaze thread, which I'm sure a lot of you know about. And it's like, oh, this is funny. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and his dildo blender, or the, reading the blind items that insinuate things about all the wrestlers that or I don't know, you go on the old wrestling podcasts, like when Austin started his, and then you have the wrestlers telling stories from back in the day, all these ribs. Like there was a rib where, and I'm forgetting the names of the guys, but basically it's like these two guys, and then there's this one other sort of tough guy wrestler from Japan or somewhere else, culturally somewhere else. So they were going to rib him by, when he walked into the room, one of them was going to get down on his knees and make it appear like he was sucking the other dude's dick when the guy walked in, just to weird him out. And so the guy walks in, and then the other guy, the one standing, shoves his dick in the guy's mouth. So he ribbed both of them. And Steve Austin's here and sort of got uncomfortable and played it off. And it was a really funny podcast story. And
except for the fact that it's actually assault.
It's sexual assault.
I mean, and look, guys, this is the kind of stuff that has been going on and deemed okay in the business for a long time. And guess what? It's just not. It's not okay in society anymore. It's not okay in wrestling. It's not okay to pay your dues. A joke is a joke. Yes, you can have a good time. You can rib somebody a little bit, but a rib is like a fake mustache joke or something. It's not, assaulting somebody. I don't know. Yeah. And I know Brit wrestling has been dealing with a ton of this. Is there going to be any Brit wrestling left, Meatloaf? Or is Brit wrestling just done?
It's a difficult one because, half the wrestlers have been done. But we had a guy called Elder here who owned a company, I think IPW, and basically he got found out for being a fucking nonce. And someone bought it, and then they've sold it on. And the company who actually have got hold of it now are just got this week gone, look, we're closing down for a minute while we have to try and sort out. It was nothing to do with us, but we're gonna have to go back through our back catalogue and get
but it's the name that they bought, and it's their whole back catalogue. It's everything that they paid for.
They're talking about changing the name because this Elder thing happened, but when that happened, people knew about it, and we go on about him being honest. He still worked in other companies. secretly. He still pops back every now and again. Marty Scurll was the dirty secret of British wrestling. I used to make comments about it on this show.
Yeah.
Like on the sly. Because the thing is people knew about it, but no one would ever go, actually, this happened. No one would tell the story. Not that we should need the story or anything like that, but it became a whisper that he was up to something. And now we've finally got the kind of concrete thing to turn around and go, yeah. But the problem here is there's a lot of the companies, like one that I go to, Fight Club Pro, there's a lot of things happening there. One of the owners who I became quite friendly with, and we talk about booking in talent and stuff, and I used to see him at shows, and he was a lovely bloke, and he used to give a little hug and stuff, and that's thank you for coming, that kind of thing. And he's one really fucking horrible person. And now everybody
and you don't even know, and then you feel bad for being a fan, which is not, but it's also not your responsibility. I mean, and I just don't want fans to feel bad, like it's their responsibility or that they've been supporting something that has so much dirty laundry. It's just laundry that needs to be aired so that we can move on to the better thing.
One of the things that I have to say though is that fans do need to start taking responsibility for some of what's going on. None of these people that these horrible things have happened to have deserved it or got themselves into position. Something's happened along the lines where these people have done these things to people, have been empowered to do that, or the people around them aren't going to say anything. So again, Fight Club Pro, the atmosphere there was toxic when towards the end. There was a lot of people there a lot of pro wrestling fans are all about getting pissed and chanting shit and meeting up with their mates and looking cool. I'd say half of them don't even like fucking wrestling. They just they like wrestling popped, didn't it?
They just want to be in the scene.
Brit wrestling became huge 5 years ago. Everything went up. The people and some of them, they go to the shows and they get to know the wrestlers because there's like a Brit wrestling hierarchy where you've been to all these different shows and you've seen this person in Germany, you've gone over to Ireland, and then at the shows they're best mates with them. After Fight Club Pro, they all go to one pub or to a nightclub together with the wrestlers, and lots of stuff that's happened has stemmed from nights there, and there's stories of stuff that happened. And I've obviously been there, and I could have gone along to these things, but I never did. But the culture around it as well is that we can be friends with these people. Now, I am friends with some, very privately. At a show, I'll go speak to them, say hello, how are you doing? I hope you're fine. Hope you got here okay. Be safe. Buy some merch. Leave. But these people just think that they're in this world, and Brit wrestling fans think that they are part of wrestling. And it itself has created a culture where these people who hide in shadows have, been attracted to it more because they can get away with this shit. Because you're all getting pissed up after a show. You might turn a blind eye to something, not not maliciously, but the environment you're in, everybody's getting pissed and having a good time.
And then it turns to something much darker than that. And I get that. Again, there is a bright side to all of it, and I want to get to that bright side because we all know that it's shit right now. There's just a lot of bad stuff going on between COVID, between speaking out, between the Black Lives Matter movement. There's just stuff, and it's all stuff that needs to get dealt with. We need to deal with our health and safety. We need to deal with these social issues that are going on behind the scenes. We need to deal with racism and sexism and predatory action. It just needs to get dealt with. But at the same time, it is not going to stop me from enjoying the things that I enjoy, especially the good parts about it, because there are a lot of good people out there. We've got one on the show today, and I think that she is well equipped to tell you about the brighter side of what's going on. She is a champion. She is a former Lucha Underground star. She is a fighter, absolutely an amazing person. And she is a friend that has a great story to tell that we all need you to hear, because wrestling has good people in it still. And there are big things happening. And hopefully all of these movements are leading to an upward trajectory for people like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Thunder Rosa right here on the MMM show, right after we hear from Denise.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a look at all of the great shows available this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network. In July, we'll debut our 4th monthly Monday series, so with no new show to kick off this week, now is your time to catch up on Lucha Libre Figures and Facts, episodes on Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero and Conan, the Mask Cast with Dos Hermanos Lucha, and their mask collection building tips and stories, and Business of the Business, including the latest episode with AEW star Colt Cabana. Tuesday, Mass, Mats, and Mayhem has never been afraid to tackle the issues and ask the tough questions. This week, the gang takes a look at women in wrestling, the speaking out movement, and the effect of Black Lives Matter on wrestling, as well as a deep dive rewind into Season 1, Episode 8 of Lucha Underground. Plus, La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa, drops in to discuss being the first female Mexican NWA champion, Lucha Underground, and starting an all-female performer and female-run wrestling promotion in Texas. Also on Tuesday, Wrestle Boss with Fabi Chulo, live covering pro wrestling and MMA from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific. This week, Fabi is joined by co-host and up-and-coming luchadora Zeta Gonzalez, and their guests include legendary SoCal luchador Superboy Torres and Lucha Underground's Ricky Mendel. Head to WrestleBossLive.com to listen live or download it Wednesday across podcast platforms. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. This week on the show, the legendary Hugo Savinovich joins the table to talk about speaking out in Lucha Libre, Lucha in the time of the pandemic, and more. Watch live on Wednesday nights and then find the episode on your favorite podcast platform every weekend. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco. This week on the show, APW, XPW, and Lucha Underground alum Vinny Massaro pulls up to talk death matches, Lucha Underground, the independent wrestling scene, and training Cain Velasquez for his in-ring debut in AAA. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast. One in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all of the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. With empty arena matches in Mexico, the Lucha Brothers returning to action in AEW, Santos Escobar dominating in NXT, and Rey Mysterio feuding with Seth Rollins on Raw. End your week every Friday by getting all caught up in 90 minutes. Be sure to subscribe and follow all of your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms. And please be sure to give a rating and review to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central. Have a great week.
Thanks, Denise. That's all the great stuff that you're going to be hearing this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And we are joined right now by La Mera Mera herself, the one and only Thunder Rosa. What's going on? How you been?
Nothing much. Just making my coffee. I have my best friends. She put, I'm an express hoe. That's my cup of the day.
Wait, now look at you. Now what happened to the braids and everything? You got a new look today. You got a new look every time I see you. What's up?
Well, bro, wearing braids is not that fun. That shit hurts. My scalp was so dry. I didn't wash my hair for 2 weeks. So I was like, no, it's time. So I gotta let my hair rest a little bit, and then I'm gonna get my hair braided again. Because it's hot in Texas. It's hot.
I'll send you some product. You got to get that product that you rub down on your scalp. Like I had braids and then I had dreads for a long time way back in the day. We're talking 20 years ago. But you gotta moisturize your scalp without messing up the braids. It's tough.
I was, but Holy Dad was here and she was helping me every night. I'll sit down and she'd be hydrating my scalp. And then when I was done, she took my braids down and she was like, this is real love. This is nasty ass hair. This is real. I miss her.
Okay, so I got to call you out right off the bat because y'all may or may not know, like Thunder Rosa's like my little sister. Like I got so much love for this girl.
Aww.
But here, yeah, but look, being like the big brother, every time I go on Instagram, there'll be these photos. There's these photos that come from your calendar and stuff, and I'll be like, come on now. And then you see my comments too. My comments are like, you need to put some clothes on, girl. What's up?
That's so funny because people at my gym at the Brazilian top team, they always come and they're like super respectful. And then I have one of like, the guys that I train with, he's like, man, I really want to be respectful about your pictures. Like, I feel uncomfortable punching in the face, I mean, I try not to post as many of those anymore because I'm trying to keep it more PG. Like, I swear to God, yesterday I was going on all my sexy pictures and I was just like, I'm going to post it. It's like, nah, I'm going to wait because I really need to sell this stuff.
Hey, but look,
you guys are not going to get them.
The moral of the story is the stuff is fire. I'm sure there are definitely a ton of fans that are appreciative of it. And if you guys don't know, you need to follow Thunder Rosa on all the socials, keep up with all the various things she's got going on. And we're about to get into a bunch of them because my girl is definitely busy. Y'all don't even know. She got like 5 other things to do today. We are squeezing this in her crazy busy schedule. But yeah, hit up her social media, buy her stuff too. So you got what? Like you're selling a calendar? Are you just selling pics? Are you selling 8x10s? What is it? So much stuff.
This is like
all the time.
Well, because I've been so busy and I've been like, and the COVID happened, I was supposed to do a bunch of other photo shoots, but I had to put that on hold. I have a website and you guys can purchase all my 8x10s and all kinds of stuff. I sell blankets now. Thunder Rosa blankets.
All right.
They're only made a special order. We only put 5. We're gonna see how they sell. We had new bandanas, we had new face covers, like all kinds of stuff. Like whatever it's trending, we're trying to get it. And then we're working on new merchandise right now. But like you said, I have like 5 other projects that are on the works that is like my stuff it's like we haven't been able to focus on just selling merchandise. But it's on thunderrosa.net. You can find all my social medias there, along with my YouTube. And then we're also doing YouTube, and we're fortunate that now we're monetized. So every time we have our show, people can donate money too while we're doing that. Yeah, so we're doing that, and we have a fan of the week. I mean, some of my fans are absolutely amazing. I just want to keep giving back to them because, like I said, they're so generous, and they've been so generous throughout the whole entire pandemic. And I didn't have to worry about, a lot of the things that a lot of the wrestlers were going through. I didn't have to create an OnlyFans because the fans were able to help me out. I always said, that is my last resort. Like, that is my last resort. And I know some people are already waiting to be my first subscribers. So,
well, at least you got some built-in income. So, like, to me, this is great too, because we're talking a lot today about women in wrestling and the women's wrestling movement as it's going right now. And to me, you're like becoming the new Colt Cabana. You are like the queen of DIY. You've got all this merchant stuff out. You've got wrestling promotions. You're taking care of yourself in the ring. You're doing multiple things, multiple venues, putting out your own videos, your own YouTube. Like, we're seeing a lot more of this right now, but being a female wrestler, what is it like for you making kind of the transition into also being an entrepreneur? Like, do you feel that that's something that more female wrestlers really need to be looking into and taking care of their own business?
Absolutely. And that's one of the main reasons why, Brian was like, Melissa, take over Mission Pro Wrestling. This 2020 has been definitely an awakening for me in terms of like becoming a business person and entrepreneur and actually put things in action. And I want to, hopefully with all some crazy ideas that I have, we can create Mission Pro Wrestling as a venue to teach new generations on how to become, self-sufficient. Because not having wrestling for me was like so hard. And I know for so many people, that was the only thing they had, And I've been so fortunate that I've been able to work different places and I have a degree. So I could have gotten a job, a regular 9 to 5, but right now it's even harder to get a 9 to 5 because, you can do certain things. So it's like, you have to evolve and you have to educate yourself. And what a best way that women empower other women. And I really, 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 really want to do this in a way in where as we advance and as we have shows, utilize the days that we have shows to also do, business talks to the new girls that are becoming, professional wrestlers, and see how that can empower them in the future. And not only in the ring, but outside of the ring, because it's so important to have all those skills if you decide to retire, but you still want to be involved in the entertainment business.
Right. Which is, it's honestly amazing. So you've mentioned it a couple times. We have to talk about Mission Pro because, this is so the right call, in my opinion, for right now. And it's kind of what's needed. I feel like the business can't really expand and move into the right directions. The business can't change. We've heard a lot with speaking out and different movements within the industry. And it's like, okay, that's great. Let's stop the bad stuff. That's one part of it, but that's only one part of it. The next part of it is, if you're going to take away some of the things that are not great about wrestling and change some of those things, you have to have new systems, new places, new people, new ideas to keep the good stuff going. And this seems like the perfect opportunity for this. So, tell us a little bit about where Mission Pro came from, what the idea is, what you're expecting to do with it.
So Mission Pro Wrestling came after Brian took a hiatus from promoting after we gave Sabotage to our friends. We passed it on. And it was a transition period. So he had the itch to do shows, but he wanted to just do it for fun. And I was like, bro, I don't even want to be involved in anything. I'll just do ring announcing. I'll just post it. I want to focus on my career because this is when I started doing MMA and I was doing other stuff, and I had my contract with NWA. So there's a lot of stuff going on in my career, and I didn't really want to go and try to do a promotion. So we had our first show last September, and it was very successful. A lot of the fans that were first attendees at Sabotage when we brought it to Texas, they all flocked into the new promotion, and they loved it because they felt, again, that we were treating them like family on everything. And everything we've done, we always make sure that people that work for us, that work with us, and that come and support us, they feel welcome, always. We say hi at the beginning of the show, and at the end of the show, we're shaking hands and kissing babies, because without them, we wouldn't, be able to have this. So COVID happened. We were supposed to have a show. We canceled. Like everybody else, we lost a little bit of money. And then all this started to happen. And then Brian was like, you know what, Melissa, let's make this all female. And I'm talking about just having only women wrestling. I'm talking about all the staff, production, ring crew, everything. We need to hire women. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be challenging. And he's like, and you are going to be on the front floor of the promotion. Yeah. And, it's him, my friend Jeremiah, and I were the owners, but I am the one who's taking over the promotion. And then I saw that Robin Reed was interested in becoming a booker. So she's the first person that we hit up. That's crazy.
So I even replied to one of your messages because I knew Robin was looking around. And I think you guys had already talked to her first, but literally I posted something on your page that said, hey, you might want to holler at Robin Reed. And I think then 4 hours later, you guys released that Robin was involved. And I was just like, oh, damn, that's nuts. So what's that relationship been like? Is she excited? And what does she feel like you guys can do with this whole thing booking wise?
Well, she's really excited. We actually had a 2-hour conversation yesterday, a booking conversation, and where we're talking about business. We're talking about what she's going to try to do, the things that we want to see in Mission Pro, and also the attitudes that we want in the locker room, which is the most important part, because you can have an excellent talent, but they have shitty attitudes in the back. And it's just people don't want to work there. They're just there because, that's a cool thing to do. I don't want anybody that is in our promotion to feel that way. I mean, Justin, you and I had several conversations about my personal experience working in the indies and working in many different promotions at the higher levels, and how I personally felt. And now I felt more comfortable talking about it. I feel like I was an outsider, and I feel like people didn't like me. And I feel like, a lot of people didn't respect me because I was so new, and I was stepping on their toes and trying to take their spot, which was never my intention. My intention was there to learn and to make a name for myself, just like they did in other places. And I want the ladies that work with us. Brian wants to say hi.
What up, B?
Right.
He's like, she's talking again. I want to make sure that whoever we start having in our core roster, that they feel that way. And any networks that I have in other promotions, either in the United States or internationally, I want to use that to help them get to where they want to get in the personal goals. You know, because I know a lot of girls, they want to go to Japan, but they don't have the option to go, or they don't have the network. I can ask, I can create something. What about England? You know, Eve works with other women. The world is our playground. We just have to make sure that when we do things, we do it in a way in where if we make profit, we have to save a certain amount of money to be able to help these girls get where they want to be. Because I don't want them to go through what I went through. Like I was talking to you guys off the record, and where promoters from another country, they're like, hey, you need a sponsor to fly you in, and we ain't gonna pay you shit, you know?
Right.
Like I want them to be paid, and I want them to be taken care of, if possible. Because that's how it should be.
I mean, it's tough too. And I think right now, a lot of fans are kind of waking up to some of this stuff and haven't really realized that in wrestling for a long, long time, there is kind of been this hierarchy of the people who have the juice and who have been around, can impose themselves a certain way, and other people just kind of have to deal with it. And it's been kind of under this guise of paying dues. Like, you got to pay your dues. You got to respect the business, and these terms that in certain respects are good because people do have to learn. They do have to understand from the wrestlers who have been there what goes into it and what they need to do. But it's also created kind of a toxic environment that gets abused by certain people who get in positions of power, and they like that and they want to keep that away from other people. And then they don't necessarily treat it with the respect that it was intended to have. Like dealing with just the locker rooms and the structures, like how does that change in wrestling at this point where you still have respect for what's come before, that everybody in wrestling does need to respect, because you have to respect each other's bodies and each other's, skill sets and what you guys are capable of doing to make the magic happen in the ring. But at the same time, not have it be this toxic thing where certain people are using that to hold power over other people.
I think in that aspect, it comes individually. Like people need to, I think we need to set boundaries and limits on how much we're willing to sacrifice, which I don't think I did it many times, and where I felt like it was an opportunity that I needed to get, and I needed to fly myself somewhere, and I needed to stay there a couple of weeks so I can go and work. That's what I will do, and but to a point in where now some people are still asking me to like fly myself over to places, and I'm like, wait, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, no.
Tell them you'll fly yourself if they fly both of your belts in their own first class seats.
I know, right? It's like, I'll be like, all right, it's like, no, I think I've done it multiple times, and I think I should get something in return. Like if I'm gonna participate in your show, I will make sure I will put butts in the seat so you can get your money back. I understand this is a business, and my when you book me, my responsibility is to get people to come and see me so you can get your money back, and that comes with promoting, that comes with talking about it. When I talk to my fans on YouTube, when I talk to my fans on Instagram, when I talk to my fans on Facebook, people that I know in the area, I text them, hey, can you come and watch me at the show? It's like stuff like that. And I take it very personal because you guys know me for many years now. Like, if I get booked, that's my responsibility, it's my job. And I think that's where we have to like change the mentality. And again, it's like, it's an individually, per individual, it's like, how much are you willing to invest? And if you're getting your investment back. I have gotten my investment back in some of the things, some of the risks that I've taken, but on some of them I never did. So that's why we when Robin and I were talking about who we're gonna book, these are the things that we're talking to some of the girls, Right.
Okay, so real talk. How do you do Mission Pro and have it make money for you? Like, can you do it, and can you bring in the cheddar? You're a smart businesswoman now. What's the business plan? How you making that money, girl?
I'm like, my brain was just like going. I was actually thinking that yesterday. I'm like, how are we going to do this? Because right now,
I know it's hard too. Because doing an independent promotion regionally, there's this break-even point that is real tricky to get to. But once you get there, you can be good for a long time, and a lot of people have done it.
Yes.
Well, how was Sabotage doing when you had stepped away? When you stepped away from it, that seemed to be really picking up real fast.
Well, when it's hit and miss sometimes, because sometimes you can have an excellent card and like people don't show up, and then sometimes you can have like a really crappy card and you fill out the venue. And a lot of the stuff had to do when we first, like the first year, it was like the engagement that we had with the fans. Like a lot of the girls were like cutting promos and like constantly. And it was like a storyline based, and certain matches people were like waiting for them. Like I remember that show that we had in LA. We were running against PWG, bro. Yeah. PWG. We filled that place out so bad. We actually had to tell people that we couldn't get them in the venue. And it was a PWG night. And we're like, you know.
I remember you were huge because when you would get into women's wrestling, especially Stardom, like if you wanted to see anyone with a name, you had to see them at your show.
Yes. That was our first show. That was like, that first show. We put like 10 grand on that show. And I remember what was that? Well, he probably said seven. And then the ladies, like, I literally called every single person I knew. And I'm like, hey, dude, we're about to start a new promotion. The guy from like Stardom is going to come. You might be able to see, you know, he's going to see you there. He might take you, he might not, but it's an opportunity, man. This can open doors for other stuff. Girls from Canada, Mexico, you had Japan. Where else? A lot of girls from Texas, they flew themselves out there. And it was an amazing experience. We had, you know, the Lucha, how do you call it? The Lucha homies were there against Holly and I.
We had them on the show a couple weeks ago, in fact.
Yeah, I was looking at that on Instagram. And, you know, everybody believed in what we were doing from day number one. And we took like 20 girls, we fed them, we put them all in like we put 4 in one room, you know, because like we had a really tight budget and we had to feed everybody. We got to make sure nobody's sleeping on nobody's floor, you know, and we made it work. And the girls that worked from day one in our show, they continued to work until like we left. And then some of them still working there. And then some of them like had worked as crazy as driving 25 hours to Texas to run a show in Texas. And they drove with us. And then it was amazing. So we were able to make money a lot of the times in some of the shows. And then the one that we have, I remember, it was one of my most special ones. The first intergender show in the state of Texas when Mia Khalifa was there. That was great. Like she brought like 30 people and everybody paid their ticket. And it was a great show because we were able to do something completely different. Yeah, now in retrospect, some of the people that were in the show, you know, they're not very welcome anymore. But again, it's just as part of our history. And with Mission Pro, like I am more aggressive now with merchandise, marketing our brand. And then also I have another aspect of professional women's wrestling called costumes matches, which a lot of people call them fetish matches. They are not fetish. It's like what you watch on TV right now is the same thing. Somebody's booking those matches and there's no people in there, you know? So we have pro style wrestling matches now on missionprowrestling.net where people can book their match with whoever they want. Especially we're working with a lot of girls that are local first. But we're going to be taking it to different states so we can work with different girls. So that is bringing extra income. So
that's awesome.
That's a
great idea because, I mean, like it's there anyway. Why it's better if a promotion is involved. It's probably safer and better for the girls too to have the actual promotion be involved in marketing it and getting it out there and getting them extra bookings. That's a great way to fill time, especially if you're putting up a ring somewhere anyway. Good gracious.
Yes. And we have really good partners here in Texas. Like I said, a lot of the promoters here, they respect Brian and I greatly because, again, we have brought them business. We have brought them new girls. We have brought them new talent that otherwise they would never been seen before. And again, it's like the fact that we believe in investing in the new talent and developing it. And that's the whole idea with Mission Pro Wrestling, with the ladies, with mostly like the new ones that are going to be working with us. We want to develop them. This is not going to be like Shimmer. This is not going to be like Shine. I want people to understand we don't have the money, and I'm not going to go broke to bring people from Australia or try to bring people from Europe. If we are able to help them out while they're in the United States and get the bookings all over the state of Texas, and one of their stops is going to be with us, perfect. And if we can, maybe in the future, if we can exchange talent, well, that's another thing that we can do too. But we're not there yet. We haven't even started. We don't even know, like I said, we have our date, but we don't even know with the COVID what's going to happen. So everything is up in the air. But we have like I said, we have the date, we have the venue, we have the insurance, we have the ring, and we have the money. So we just like right now is like we're like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm raising money to buy our own cameras, projectors, lights, everything, because we want to make sure also the quality of
just production
wise, yes. So all that, but again, it's gonna take some time, and we're gonna make it happen.
Well, I mean, the good thing is you do have time, but I gotta imagine that the whole COVID scenario right now scares anyone trying to do any live events, right? I mean, because there's just so many unknowns. You don't know what you're going to get when you come back to doing live events, right?
Yes, I actually have one next week. And there's a discussion that we all need to be tested for COVID. And I'm like looking like crazy for testing places that are free or that are like less than $100 because everybody's getting tested right now. And it's like, I need to get tested for work and I'm not able to do it. So I'm like, I already said to my friend, I'm going to bring my gloves, my mask, and the plastic mask on top. I'm not risking it. I mean, I am getting ready for a fight. There's 10 other people on my fight team that depend on my health too. So I have to be very careful with what I do, especially being in around many, many people. Like we're telling each other on the weekends or when we do like family nights or whatever, not to go to big groups because that's where you usually are, getting COVID.
And people feel so comfortable in those environments too. It's like, these are the faces these are the people that these are family members, close friends, and you feel like because of that you're safe. It's like, but just one of them could bring it in and then that's everybody. You know what I mean? It's so hard. It's so hard right now.
Yeah, and like one of my friends, he just got signed on the UFC, so he has a fight in September. So if he doesn't, if he gets the COVID, he's going to be out for the whole rest of the year. So that's like, you're talking about thousands of dollars that this family will be losing. The same with me. If something happens to me in that aspect, thousands of dollars I will be losing because I won't be able to do what I needed to do,
Yeah. All right. So so you guys don't get it twisted. When Mel says she's got a fight coming up soon, she's talking about an actual fight, y'all. She's not talking about just wrestling. My girl is an actual professional MMA fighter also. How in the hell did that come about? I mean, because I don't think we've talked about that on the show. I think last time you were on the show was right before all that went down. So how did you get into Combate America? Why did you even want to do it? And I've seen what's going on now. I love that you're bringing some of that into the wrestling now too. Like the arm bars and the jujitsu that you're throwing into your wrestling set now is dope as hell. And I love seeing real MMA moves in wrestling. But how did you get into doing the whole MMA thing? And what was the experience like going to that first fight and getting in the cage? You got to tell me all this. I'm excited.
So I was asked to be part of Combate after, what was I doing? I don't remember. I was in a show and somebody asked me if I want to be part. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu, yeah, totally. Like, that's so cool. Yeah. My dumb ass didn't know what I was getting myself into. Jiu-jitsu is one thing, striking is another thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Muay Thai is like holy cheeses. And then you put it all together and you're like, what the hell, right? So we went to a show.
And I'm here to tell you, putting it together is not easy because I wrestled all through high school and then I kickboxed after it. But then once MMA became a thing and I tried to put the two things together, hell no, I couldn't do it. Like I could not match up those two skills. Like I needed to either be kickboxing or I needed to be wrestling, but I couldn't do them both together. No, I just never could.
Imagine, like I have this mentality and where when you're doing matches, like you're working with each other. I'm getting in the and I'm getting in the cage my first week and they're doing the Shark Tank. Brother. To 2 minutes in, I was like crying. I was like, holy Jesus.
Like, what is this? Why aren't you letting me get my moves in?
People are like punching me in the face and stuff, and I'm trying to get out. I can get them out, and I'm just like, next, and I can just hear next, and I just hear next, and it's just like in tears. I'm like, fuck this, I'm not gonna quit. And it's just like people keep choking me, like throwing me in arm bars and triangles. I'm just like, and then coach is like, come back next time. Let's see if you'll come back next week, you know? And I came back, and I keep coming back. I was like hurt. I was like, whatever, but let me go back to the question that you asked me. So we went to a show in McAllen, Texas. And then that's when I met Mike from Combate Americas. He talked to me. He's like, we just need more people like you. Like, we want people that are like from one sport to another, because we want to try something different. And I was like, well, I mean, sounds good. I mean, I think I'm pretty athletic. I think I can do this, right? And then he's like, okay, well, we're going to be sending you the information, and then just let us know what your coaches said. Then I went and talked to my coaches, and they're kind of like, give me this look like, really? Are you serious?
Like, you're going to do this for real?
Yeah. Like, and you're going pro? Like, are you serious? Like, just letting you know, like, this is a very dangerous sport. You can have like severe brain damage. You know, they can break your bones. You know, a lot of things can happen. You 100%. Yes, coach, I got this, whatever. So I had literally like 6 months to train for my first fight. Bear in mind that all this, between the 6 months, I was wrestling every weekend.
Oh, you were mad crazy busy then.
What, in September, for WOW, I had 10 matches 1 week. As soon as I got off the plane, I took a nap and I went to training. I could not move, but I still had to go to training.
Wow.
So I only had 3 weeks off before my fight. 3 weeks off.
My God.
And then I still had to like drop weight. So I'm traveling, cutting weight, shadowboxing everywhere that I could. That was my first, also that was the first season where I got signed on NWA.
Yeah.
So I have all this on top of that. And then, you know, it was like, I look back and I'm like, I was absolutely crazy. Crazy, you know, because I got in the cage, and I remember, what was that about? Yeah, hardly not knowing anything. Like, you know, I'm like learning my ones and twos and my takedowns, because it's different than wrestling. I mean, you know, even when I was doing sometimes, my coaches will stop me. This is not professional wrestling, you know. And I was just like, oh God, this real, you know. And I had to be reminded, you cannot be doing what you do in the ring, in the cage, you know. So, man, I was there walking in. Like, we had so many people, like so many professional wrestling fans came. I probably had like 150, 200 people that just came to see me at the Coliseum in San Antonio, which is a big, big arena. And we were semi-main, like, yo, like, put me like before like the, you know, the main.
No,
parts. Like,
they put some hype on you, girl. They really did. They had a good package and everything. I watched and I was like, dang, they are pushing her hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just, imagine all that pressure that I had. And like, I remember my friend, he was like, Melissa, if you lose, you know, you had a lot more to lose than the other chick. Nobody knows this other chick. They all know you. Yeah. You know? So if you lose, make sure you lose by decision or by split decision. Not by getting choked.
Go out on a stretcher. You got to. In this particular case, this is not a lay down and take it moment. You got to go out on a stretcher, if at all. I get it. Whoa, that's all we're going to give you from Thunder Rosa this week. You got to come back next week if you want to hear exactly what it was like for her to step into that cage in Combate Americas. She's also going to talk about her time in Lucha Underground and getting out of her contract there. She's got great stuff to talk about WOW and her name switch there from Cobra Moon to Serpentine. She even talks about Billy Corrigan, NWA, being the champ, her citizenship, a whole lot more next week. So be sure you come back for that. And we got a whole lot of talking about Lucha Underground and professional wrestling coming up right after this.
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Conan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
Byron, have you got anything cool from luchamasks.com?
Yes.
You have? No,
Yeah,
you
but
haven't?
I have, but it's not on my desk.
Oh, that's all right. Anyway, look, if you haven't been to luchamask.com, get over there because some of that stuff is running out super duper fast. So happy that Mel was able to come by. Having another MMA fight, that blows my mind. Like, you know, you get in there once, it's like you're trying something out. You go in there twice, you got the itch, you've got the bug, and she's going to get in there and lay some hands. I can't wait. That's going to be super awesome. Current NWA champ and just so much cool stuff going on. Can't wait to see what happens with Mission Pro. All right. So we got Jim here. I don't even know how long you got, Jim, because I want to talk to you. We haven't had you to talk about NXT.
We got some time, like 40, 45 minutes or so.
All right, look, I'm going to go right into it right now because Jim is a big NXT fan. We've been talking about NXT recently. Everybody knows that I'm a huge Cross fan. Everyone knows that Meatloaf is a huge HDF fan. Byron's been a huge NXT fan forever. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. And I know it's not Lucha Libre, and we're going to get to Lucha Underground because we got a fun episode to talk about in a minute here. But what are you feeling about Drake getting the contract? Like, was it a swerve? Was it a work? What's going on?
Honestly, I can tell you this, that I honestly don't know. But the thing is, the way I see it is that, when mid-April came around and he was released along with everyone else, I believe that's the truth. I believe that he, along with all the other names that were listed, they were let go unceremoniously and unjustly by the company. And I think, he became the forefront. He became the face of it because of that video that he posted. And I do believe those are his real feelings, because whether you've talked to him personally or whether or not you've seen any of his past interviews, he's so passionate about his job and what he does, and especially with his dream of being in the WWE. So I think that he just didn't want to take, he didn't want to take anything lying down. He knew that if he wanted something to happen, he was going to have to work for it. So he continued. The fact that they let him stay for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament gave him the opportunity to show that he was willing to fight for his job. And I think somewhere along the lines of, or along the way of the tournament, that the company decided to keep him. And I think that because of that fact, there was no real good way to move forward with that, because
they can't put the strap on him. You're totally right. I mean, they couldn't put the strap on him. That would have been just ridiculous.
Right. But whether or not they offered him a contract at the end or not, it's like, okay, well, from the fans' point of view, it's like, okay, well, if you let him go after that, it's like, oh, well, WWE's taking advantage of, the publicity that he put forth for himself, and they kept him on TV just to make themselves look good. So WWE's in the wrong for that. But then it's like, oh, well, now that they've signed him, were they fooling us this entire time? And they're just taking advantage of a bad situation. It's like, no matter what, it was a lose-lose situation. But the way that I saw it, it's like someone who worked so hard and is a good person got to keep their job. So I'm trying to look at it that way, as opposed to whatever WWE tried to put on, on their product or whatever, and try to make themselves look good. It's like, I don't care about the bad things that they did to make themselves look good. I looked at the fact that someone got to keep their job.
I'll tell you what, man, I honestly think they did it absolutely the best it could have been done. At the point in time where it was stated, work or shoot or whatever, that he was leaving the company, but was still going to participate in the Cruiserweight tournament, I think that this is pretty much the only way it could have gone down from there. Now, if they had just jobbed him out and still had him in the tournament and put him on TV and fired him, that would have been just crazy. Like, at the point in time when they said that they were going to let him go, if they're letting him back on TV at all, that's just crazy. Like, they couldn't really do that. And I don't know if honestly, if the whole thing was a work, kudos to them. Got no problem with it. The story worked. It got me invested. I liked how the ending went down. I thought it was completely fair. I thought it gave an emotional connection to the entire storyline. And that is what I am paying them for. That is what I give WWE my money for. It's not for bowling and turkey legs. It is for emotional investment in athletic competitions. So kudos to them. Like, whatever. And I agree with you. Like, look, a guy who deserves to work in the business is still working in the business. Now, I also personally think that he could have gone somewhere else and also been completely fine. And I think a few of those other people that were released will do exactly that. And some of them may even be better off in doing so. Some may just go and collect toys somewhere. What were you going to say, Byron?
Sorry, I'm cracking up at toys. I mean, I kind of think he'd be better somewhere else. I think he was huge money in TNA Impact. Like, he was always in big storylines. He was always getting TV time. And then in WWE, every once in a while, he would do something and it would be great. I still remember his 205 program with Mike Bennett, which, like, also, who the fuck is Mike Bennett? Like, he wasn't worth anything in WWE either. And he's someone who'll do a lot better outside. But, like, their one program, and he's great too, but their one program meant something because of Drake. But then they do that, and then they forget about him because they don't know how to keep him. In my opinion, they don't know how to keep him and someone like him in their routine. And so I think that I personally think they made a mistake. I think they probably were dumb enough to fire someone in a tournament, and then that they probably didn't know because of whatever disconnect. And then they saw that promo, and then they woke up and realized why they hired him in the first place.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's what it takes. Is like the front office, the business people who are just looking at the numbers of like, oh, Drake Maverick doesn't sell a bunch of T-shirts. We're not really using him. We're not counting on him for anything money-wise. So let's let him go. And then the bookers are like, oh, but we are counting on him to do this and this and this. Like, there was probably a disconnect between. It's a big company. I mean, it is a public corporation. So you're correct in the fact that there very easily could have been a level of disconnect that, you know, his all of a sudden exposure. Then you got the guys in social media going, hey guys, this dude that you just fired has like a billion hits on this post, and maybe you guys in creative should watch this if you still have him around to use it. And then the guys in the front office are going, oh, is there money in this? You know, and then everyone comes back together because, you know, a lot of these companies are just that fragmented of like, there's different sections dealing with different things. And then it takes a moment like that to bring them all together.
Yeah, and I think it should be stated that I think that a lot of people are getting a disconnect that like, oh, WWE, here's this entire company, here's everyone within it. They're all representative of one thing. It's like, it doesn't really work that way. As you said, Justin, there are a lot of different pieces and there are a lot of different, you know, departments that handle things, and that gets lost in translation because WWE is this entire giant entity. And especially with stuff that's going on within the company now, I think it should be noted that it's okay to support the people within a company, even if you don't like the company structure and how things are being run, or especially if you don't like a lot of the higher ups.
Right.
Because the higher ups don't represent their employees and vice versa. Like as been stated on this show and even just now, like I support a lot of the people in the company, especially personally. So it's hard for me when I see something like, oh, WWE as a global entity is a terrible company because of the way independent contractors are being held and, you know, restrictions with COVID and whatnot. But it should be like, it really should be stressed that like support these people, but you don't have to support the company, but also recognize the corporate structure and the different departments that handle different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's like, look, when I saw that Kevin Cross, who's a homie, was getting a shirt already, you know, and was barely even on NXT TV, I pre-ordered one. And it's not because I want to put money in Vince's pocket or send money up to Connecticut, but I also know that if they see a big t-shirt sale number out of some new guy who's down in NXT that just came out of Impact in the Indies, you know, that is a number that can hit Vince's desk, and all of a sudden a guy that I like is getting a push in that company. You know, and it's just that simple. You know, that's just the economics of it. And it's like, you don't get the choice necessarily to support one and not inadvertently support the other. But at the same time, fans do have a voice. If you are watching the segments of the wrestlers that you like, you're watching the shows of the wrestlers that you like, you're buying the merchandise of the wrestlers that you like, it does send a direct message. They get quarter-hour numbers. It's like if your segment, you like Seth Rollins, you watch the Seth Rollins segment, and then you turn that show off when the next guy comes out that you don't like as much, they know. They actually, honest to God, know. They see a number. They see a spike in the ratings for the guy that you like and not the guy that you don't. That's why Roman Reigns is still so huge, because people can talk shit about him all day long about not liking him. But guess what? His quarterly segment numbers were through the roof. His T-shirt sales have always been through the roof. You're not ever getting rid of Roman Reigns. Ever.
I love Roman Reigns.
The guy is money for them at any point of his career, whether you've liked him or not. Yeah. So if you're a big fan, I think part of Spud's issue was the fact that he wasn't moving a ton of merch. Like, you guys like Drake Maverick, go buy a shirt.
Pre-orders figure at wrestlingfigs.com or Ringside Collectibles.
Yes.
See, there it is.
And
what were you going to say, Byron?
Sorry.
No, Meef, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the other thing as well is obviously, we've all expressed opinions on WWE. I certainly do in Phantasma went there. But like you said, if you support it, what do you think is going to happen if you don't support NXT? Let's just pretend it collapses. Then what happens? Your favorite wrestler has to nearly kill himself every fucking week going on the road.
Yeah.
Dragging himself through fucking shit, eating shit, not being in. The good thing about WWE, regardless of this COVID thing, is you've got access to world-class fitness and gear and trainers and all this other stuff, and you're basically on the fucking telly. You're not
in front of millions.
I can watch on a live stream, like on someone's on demand. Fuck no! You have to pay like $15 a pop for one of those things. No, exposure is what, and like you said, numbers during those matches, numbers on T-shirts. Mm-hmm. It adds up to what you are worth to the company. So just support your guys, and that's all that matters. Just support them, and then they'll be fine, and they'll have a nice job.
Speaking of supporting our guys, I have to ask you guys' opinion. Did they put the cooler onto Cross? They threw him. They let him throw this Adam Cole tease out there, and then now he's refighting guys that he's already fought, and he's not booked in the title match. There's a different title match going on. So did they start to push him and cool him off? Is it a big game plan? Do they want to drag it out?
I don't think it's on cool right now. I think it's on simmer, because it's not like he may be out of the title picture for now, but it's not like they're not showing him going after Adam Cole. Like, even after his match with Bronson Reed this past week, he's still going like this. And Morrow made note that, like, hey, Adam Cole, your time is coming.
Yeah. I think there's also you can't just go straight from A to Z and skip all the letters in between. Like,
it sure looked like that was what they were going to do for a second there, and I was even shocked. Like, oh my God, why is the champ's name coming out of Cross's mouth? Like, this is either a great thing or the worst thing for his whole career. What is going on?
Yeah, but you even had the point, I don't know if it was the show or in conversation, that, I mean, they also still need footage for his Titantron, for the video packages. Like, oh, here's this really dangerous guy. You see him standing around wearing boots, and okay, you're telling me he's dangerous, but then you see, footage of him dropping people on their necks and choking them out. You're like, oh, I see what you mean now. Like, he's still also, it's a good match. Bronson Reed is awesome, and
yeah, it was great. I will tell you what, man, and I think you guys know this, but I thought that this past episode of NXT was one of the best all around. I love the thing they did with Damian Priest. I loved the cross angle of actually showing that he can bump a little bit, which I think was a big part of what they did. Yeah. I thought he might have hulked up a little too much at the beginning, but whatever. It still worked, and that's the character that they wanted to go with. And they've had several of these kind of monster guys coming in right now with Dexter Lumis and and him and Damian and a few of these guys. So it's like they have to differentiate them.
Yeah, but they're all projects, and all those other guys aren't Cross as far as like a complete person. First of all, I wanted to ask what you thought about the choke on Bronson, by the way, since we have been talking MMA a bit.
Well, now that you mention it, I think it's really awesome, because a lot of people thought that it looked a little lazy at the end, because Cross is putting his hand on his head. Like some people thought that he might be showboating or whatever, but technically if you're doing a rear naked choke on somebody that is bigger than you and you can't get all the way underneath and wrap around their head with your hand, that if you come back to your head, you can still put the same amount of pressure, because what you're really doing is pulling the choke up underneath the chin with your arm. And what you need is the leverage of pushing on something. The choke itself gets a little bit better if you're pushing on their head, because you're pushing their head down as well, which helps constrict it faster. But at the same time, if you're pushing your chin on the back of their head, it's still doing that, and you're still getting the leverage there. So technically what Cross did in that version of the cross jacket on a guy with a bigger neck was fundamentally sound and real MMA. He wasn't just, modifying or doing some sloppy version of the choke because he didn't come behind the guy's head.
Yeah.
Which I love, and we talked about that with Mel just a little bit ago, that like real MMA techniques in wrestling, I think need to happen more. And the wrestling guys that are pure wrestlers need to understand that a lot of people are out there watching MMA and understand the mechanics of real fights now. So you have to include that. Just like, you hear Disco Inferno yell about it all the time, of throwing a real wrestling punch. Like, make your punch look like something and then react to it like it was something.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, let's have some moments where somebody throws a closed fist punch. The referee admonishes them while the other guy is recovering for a minute. Because guess what? If you get cold clocked with a haymaker undefended, you're going to need 30 or 40 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm automatically a fan of anyone who throws a punch and they're like this after.
Absolutely, because that junk hurts, man. If your hands aren't wrapped or in gloves, and even if they are, people break hands all the time.
I would look at this boxers' hands. Boxers' hands after fights are literally, if there's not bone sticking through, they're just like that instant green, horrible bruise, blood. It's insane.
It's horrible.
We'll see a little bit later with the Lucha episode we're going to talk about. But one of my favorite parts of that whole show was Mil Muertes' just knockout punch.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have to wait. Let's talk about it now.
I wanted to talk trash on Damian Priest a little bit.
Okay, you can talk trash on Damian. Why are you talking trash on him? I thought this match was great. I love the way he sold. It was one of the first times I felt really emotionally invested in him. I loved this match. Why do you want to talk trash on the guy?
Well, first of all, he's just horribly lame out of the ring. But I want to continue what you brought up with like the monsters they're bringing in. They still need to fully fledge out their characters. You have Dexter Lumis sort of doing Ryan Gosling on steroids, and now he also draws like caricatures. Whatever the word is. Like,
I'd like to use this opportunity to segue to a plug for Headlocked Comics, because Dexter Lumis is one of those people who are writing short stories for it, because he is an accomplished artist. So go over to Kickstarter and help support Headlocked Comic.
Oh, if it's a real element of him as a person, I think that's awesome. I think
Byron just assumes that wrestlers can't draw.
No, I just thought, okay, that's just a really weird. That to me, that felt like having a muscle bound hillbilly saying that they own a vineyard and they're super smart, or randomly for 2 weeks. Like, it felt.
But I mean, George the Animal Steel. Come on,
but they didn't have George the Animal Steel like painting Da Vinci paintings.
But he probably could have.
I'm sure he could have. But
so also,
guy. I like what he's doing. But Damian Priest, good stuff in the ring. And I think it's only getting better week to week. But I just think he can't get behind any of the acting side of being a wrestler. I don't like. He seems lost. Like he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing in every promo or backstage scene.
Well, and that's why this match was better. I think somebody found a way for him as a person to tell a credible story. And if that's the way that they have to do it, and they have to, it showed me one thing. He is a physical actor. He knows how to act and tell a story physically. They need to lean on that. And they need to figure that stuff out in NXT in general, and WWE in general. Like, stop doing what you think is the WWE brand and start doing what is going to get specific individuals over. And sometimes they do it but usually they do it when what is going to get that person over fits into their idea of the brand. Like Alexa Bliss is a great example. She just fits the way that they know how to market stuff. And once she found her little piece of that, they were able to run with it immediately. But the problem is they should have been developing that when she was in NXT and letting her do that 2 years sooner than she did.
What was her name again, Justin? Who we talked about?
Alexa Bliss. Why?
Louder? I can't hear you.
Why can't you hear me, Byron?
Say who again?
Alexa Bliss. Why is this so funny to you, Byron?
Because Byron is trying to set off my Amazon Echo.
Oh no! Why didn't you just do it, Byron?
This pretty much happens anytime I watch TV with her in a match or when I was watching Schitt's Creek.
You got to just change the active name.
But it doesn't happen that often.
That's amazing. That's a good. See, now that's a good rig.
I'm sat here now thinking of things to shout out.
Yeah. So, Alexa Bliss, buy me $500 worth of rubber gloves right now. Listen.
Please
so
don't.
I want to ask you this. I want to ask you guys this. Sorry.
Alexa, please buy headphones.
No, this is terrible. Street Profits, Private Party. We've been talking about Black Lives Matter a little bit. And I just noticed, and I love all the guys involved in both those groups. I just felt like watching the other day, especially with the lead up to the Street Profits, Street Vikings thing, some of which I actually enjoyed a little bit. But man, I don't know if I'm out of line to say this, but I felt like there was a certain amount of shucking and jiving going on because of the way that WWE presents those guys compared to like what you get from Private Party, where they're still the fun-loving guys, but they get a chance to more be themselves. Like I really felt like there was this tinge of somebody else is writing these guys to be what their idea of black performers is, as opposed to what they actually are in real life. Am I crazy?
No.
I mean, Byron, you would go to those NXT house shows. Would you say there's a huge difference from Street Profits then compared to Street Profits now?
I think that's a much larger question with the whole NXT situation. I mean, I have very similar complaints about the Street Profits presentation as you, Justin, but I see it I see it sort of a little differently. Like I didn't notice the racial undertones. I would see them come out on the NXT house loop and they had no TV time. There was no introduction, but they'd come out and everyone would love them. They'd be super entertaining. They're doing what they're doing. Now they weren't that great in the ring. They're still figuring it out, especially Montez. Like it took him a while to like physically be like intimidating in the ring, I think, have a physical presence, but entertaining as hell. And they were just like No Way Jose or that other guy who does the air guitar that no one heard about
Rick
again.
Boogs.
Yeah.
They need to give Rick Boogs airtime.
But it's so like there's a purpose for that, especially at house shows, to make the kids happy.
Look, and I've got nothing wrong with a comedy gig or an upbeat gig in general. I just, and I don't even
know. But what I'm saying is, for me, there's more to them, and they bring them up, and that's a gimmick that dies when you get to the main stage, and they're still being presented like that. Like there's more to them. They're not being presented as serious competitors. And then when you brought up your point, it totally looks like a white guy trying to tell a black person how a black person would act.
Yeah, and that was more my thing. And it's not even a racism thing. I think this goes back to kind of the systematic issues that I think that I've been seeing and kind of reconciling my own personal feelings during the BLM movement of, I think one of the problems is we get a lot of African-American talent in front of the camera, and being a TV producer myself, it's really hard to be a person of color and be the person behind the camera. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done on that side. Like, I don't know, maybe WWE has a room full of African-American writers. I don't know, but it just felt like some of those moments were just a miss in the voicing because they don't have somebody helping them write in the back that is writing with a voice that is truer to who those guys actually are. And I'm not saying that you can represent everybody in the back. It's like, look, a white woman might be writing HDF in the back because that's who the writer is. And it is her job as a compelling writer to understand the voice of the character. And I'm not saying that a white writer can't understand the voice of those characters. I just feel like, man, these brothers need somebody else to write for them. Like, put MVP back there. And I feel like MVP has been helping agent them, and he's helping them with their in-ring persona a lot. And his segments have been great, but I also feel like he's a guy that's got the juice when somebody in the back does write something for him that doesn't work. He's just like, oh, yeah, this is a great idea. Let me tweak this like this. I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to say it like this. I got you.
He knows how to play that game.
Because MVP is a vet and can do that. And we know that he's been an agent and a booker like at Lucha Underground and some other places where he knows the business side of it as well as the in-ring side. And these guys are younger and don't necessarily know that. So they have to be given a certain amount of that. I just felt like compared to what was going on with Private Party, like I feel like, I don't know if they're writing their own stuff over in AEW or what, but I feel like every time I see them on character, it's really their voice. Like their gimmick isn't necessarily getting pushed to the moon, but anytime they're doing something with their gimmick, I feel like, oh yeah, that voice is totally natural. I get who these guys are. They're expressing themselves. And I feel like AEW in general is hitting that kind of on the mark. Now, part of their problem there is that they might not be forcing enough people to do enough things that are out of their comfort zone. So I feel like their show is kind of falling flat at times because people are just being themselves and they're not pushing storylines into that in a bigger way. And they need to do a little more of that. And they need to find ways to craft those elements of who people really are into bigger and better stories.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Private Party came up with their gimmick well before they were in AEW, whereas Street Profits was something that was formed within the parameters of the Performance Center and NXT. Yeah, so Private Party hasn't changed themselves as much as Street Profits.
But to that point, I mean, this is mean to say, but Street Profits is Montez Ford and the other guy. And I think it's all been born out of him. And I'm not saying the other guy doesn't hold up his end of the bargain, what's needed of him, but it's a one guy act. It's one guy who started going to tag matches with a solo cup. And then he'd start shimmying a little bit. And people are like, oh, I like this guy. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm having fun out here. And then it was born out of that. It's Montez Ford. And I think I see, I don't want to say he's another Rock, but I see a similar type of charisma that just it comes out of him even more than he's even prepared for.
I think you can say it because I think for where he's at in his career right now, he's way far ahead of where Rocky Maivia was at the same time in his career. I hated him. I couldn't stand watching Rocky Maivia.
But check this out. When Ricochet was hired, and I don't know how much I made a point about this out loud, but when Ricochet got hired, Montez Ford was still just an NXT guy, not even, I don't think, a tag champ, right?
He was in the tag. He was still in Street Profits at this time.
Yeah, and it was just Ricochet got hired, and he's getting, blasted to the moon, especially NXT right at first. And they had a little bit of, like, I also think, like, when Ricochet got hired, he tweeted at every black performer on WWE TV, and they had a back and forth. And I saw them, and I'm like, side by side, like, Ricochet is, like, up here. Right. With everything. And this guy is like right down here. But you just know, just looking at them, Ford is way bigger a WWE star than Ricochet ever will be. And we've hit that mark now. Yeah. Now Ford is like doing all the bumpers between segments on matches, WrestleMania, whatever. Like,
there's still a way to make Ricochet a star, but it's not anything that they're doing or probably have done before. So who knows?
But I feel like it's the curse of being funny, which you hear some people complain about. Like, and I'm sure there's other elements too, but they're like, Montez Ford could be entertaining. Let's have him be entertaining. And
look, I would take the Elias schedule all day long. That dude has to travel just like everybody else, but then 60% of the time he gets to go out and play his guitar, take one bump, and then go in the back and have some Gatorade. Like, I would be the comedy act all day long if you can do it on the Elias level. Are you kidding me? All day.
I see a main
maybe
event.
50 grand a year for that. I'll do it for 50 grand.
Oh God,
Yeah.
he's getting 7 times that, bro.
Yeah.
He's making real money.
I see a career in the main event with Montez and his wife Bianca Belair.
He'll get there.
I think they're a huge power couple, and I think she would legitimize him as far as a competitor too.
Hey, in a more forward-thinking world, she would just be his tag partner. Anyway, let's take another quick break. Let's come back and let's talk about another episode of Lucha Underground.
If you're listening to this and you haven't visited luchacentral.com, it's time to do it. LuchaCentral.com is the online home for Lucha Libre, where you can get all of the top news in English and in Spanish. Find the best curated video content and original content not seen anywhere else. Find when Lucha Libre events would be happening in your area. Find photo galleries from top photographers covering Lucha Libre around the world. From weekly polls to annual awards. Seen and read by top executives in all of the major Lucha Libre promotions across the globe. And on top of that, it's free. LuchaCentral.com, your centralized place for all things Lucha Libre.
Lucha Underground, Season 1, Episode 8. This is a different kind of episode here because we're dealing with like 2 multi-man matches. This was in the first times they just kind of threw everybody in the ring. You still get a lot of what you love from Lucha Underground, but I can't say that this is one of my favorite episodes just because it doesn't have a lot of backstory or story in it at all. Like, how did you guys feel, before we get into any specifics, how did you guys feel about this overall episode? Was this a good idea? Is LU still trying to find its way here? What do you think?
I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was great to showcase a lot of their athletes. I'll keep this short. I loved Mariachi Loco's little dance super kick. And I think Vampiro loved how violent it looked too. But yeah, up until the next episode, Lucha Underground it just seemed like they were searching for their tone, for their identity. What is this going to be? I think they're getting there, but I think this is kind of like the go home to it, because with the Aztec Warfare title belt at the end.
Yeah. Meef, Jim, what do you guys think about this episode overall? Any thoughts?
I think that it was cool, like as Byron said, to display all this talent. I just think looking back, it's kind of confusing how you would have 2 10-person matches, but then being 2 different types of matches. Because you had the first one was like, just a standard, like, all right, first pinfall wins, and the second one's a battle royal. It's like, okay, well, shouldn't this at least be kind of uniform since we're kind of vying for the same, opportunity?
Right. And I don't know how much of this led into what they were going to do with Aztec Warfare, but it's also like it takes a little steam off of how cool that idea is, where it's kind of like the Royal Rumble, except with pinfalls. So you're getting all these matches inside of a bigger match, which I thought was really cool. And it's not like it hasn't ever been done. It was a slight variation on things that had been done in the past, but it worked great for them. But this almost feels like it's taking the steam off of it a little bit. I don't know, Meef, any overall thoughts on this episode before we get into a couple of the specifics?
No, not really. Just like that, pretty much Byron summed up pretty much what.
My God, you agreed with Byron. Great. Now look at his head just getting bigger on screen.
Byron Turk podcast.
Oh, I mean, I feel like it should also be noted that when this episode originally aired, it was during the holiday season. So I feel like that's one of the main reasons they could, let's just get everyone in there so everyone remembers them before we go on I think it might have been like a week or 2 hiatus.
Yeah, and they even say that when they come back, it's going to be Aztec Warfare on January 7th or 8th or something of what that year was. So that there was I think a 3-week break in programming after this. But I also thought that was weird to send it out on kind of a meh note, but maybe people weren't really watching it anyway.
All right, they're gonna have a new champ when we come back.
Well, which is good. I mean, the hype of what they were leading to was great. It's just like they didn't really pause it with a bang, but they never were good at that either, because when they did the other hiatus, that was a total clusterfuck as well. So 10 men enter, 1 man leaves. We got Superfly, Puma, Big Rick, Phoenix, Pentagon Jr., King Cuerno, Drago, Son of Havoc, El Mariachi Loco, and Mascarita Sagrada already in the ring. My favorite spot in this entire match are all Mascarita spots. He took some serious damage. He got punted by everyone, including Loco.
I mean,
how does Loco rate a chance to punt Mascarita at this stage of his career?
I mean, it's watching this back and after talking to Loco, I really wish we got to see what they were going to do with him because he looked like he could stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone else in the ring there. So I really wish that huge missed opportunity. Whoever put this match together, helped produce, agent it, I think did a great job because everyone got their shit in. Everyone looked great. Big Rick.
All in front of Danny Trejo.
All in front of Danny Trejo. I'm like, who's this guy touching the... Oh, okay, he can do it.
It's Machete.
I like Big Rick hooking the leg when he pinned Sagrada.
I noticed that too. I'm like, why are you hooking the leg?
This is the best. I'm telling you, all the Masquerita spots were just amazing. You know, like Masquerita versus Big Rick, just amazing.
Yeah, there was a point where Vamp sort of broke kayfabe, where someone was taking a clothesline.
There was a few instances in this episode, but go ahead.
Yeah, he was like, looks like he almost took the bump before he got his head taken off, and then he threw in a Road Warriors reference, and then also Justin Borden was counting a pin when a guy was on his side, not even like a shoulder was sort of up, and then they're like, hey, Justin's on the tape too. Justin is a shitty ref, and all Justin's. Never mind.
There was a few references, and we're already talking about it, that I thought were inappropriate. Like they referenced the a Cuerno Drago feud that did not exist. They were referencing clearly a AAA thing, and it's like, no, you're talking about Phantasma, and you're putting it on to Cuerno. What are you guys doing? Like, there's talking about a character's history or whatever, but they totally blew it. And then there was another one that I think I have in my notes somewhere. But it was just like, what are you guys doing? And it was Vamp and Stryker both did it a couple times of like referring to histories and things in a wrestling world that you would like things that you would say if you were doing commentary at New Japan. Oh, that was the one. It was Ricochet. They referred to Puma's history in Japan. Yeah. What the fuck is that? Like he even says like, oh, been all around the world in Japan and blah blah blah. When he's talking about Puma, it's like, no, you're not supposed to say that. And believe me, at the time, there were a lot of people watching too that did not know he was Ricochet and were just buying him as Puma, and Ricochet did not need to be mentioned at all. And I'm just surprised with the fact that they did post-production on these things, that they even left those in.
Yeah. I mean, they were putting in like iPhone sound bites to, dub into commentary. Like they were. And
I heard they got more careful about this stuff later. And I think as Eric Van Wagenen also became more aware of the tone of the show, since he was kind of leading the post-production guys and he was the one watching the cuts, though I know DJ would watch some cuts too, but Eric would see them multiple times. He ended up becoming the guy who would scissor that stuff or have the guys do retakes on commentary and stuff like that. But it definitely got through in this episode. Commentary was absolutely sloppy in multiple occasions that probably should have been edited later.
They also were super, super thirsty, which I think stands out even more these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. They're talking about Lotus the whole time. Vampiro's just
and Katrina.
And Katrina. So, I even have it. Yes, Stryker makes reference to Puma in Japan and the history between Drago and Cuerno. That's just stupid.
I thought it was fun. What do you think?
It was fun. I love the running spot though between Phoenix and Puma, where they're going corner to corner. Felt very like a PWG kind of moment or something. Felt way cooler than what Lucha Underground maybe even deserved at the time. Just kind of that section to me was like, oh, this is some good indie show shit, or maybe like a, two guys trying to show out in Japan kind of moment that you don't normally get here in American wrestling.
I thought it was, looking back, like right now, Phoenix to me is probably the best wrestler in the world. I think he should be champ of all the companies at once. But back then, Phoenix is like this, Ray Phoenix is just coming up. He's more of a nobody going up against Ricochet in a hood, and he's going toe to toe, and he's doing he's just beginning to do all of his cool, rope work, and Ricochet's letting him stand with him. And
he got the win clean on Puma. Yeah, I mean, it was a clean win in a 10-man match where you did not have to do a clean victory.
And we're rewatching the season that happened a long time ago. I still was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah. I mean, I think going back, and we even asked Eric Van Wagenen about this a few episodes ago of like, wow, I don't even know if I felt it or realized it at the time, but you guys were really making Phoenix a star here. You guys really did. And, to Dory and Roldan's dismay later, because Phoenix had no issue saying, hey, bro, I'm a star now. We need to talk about some things.
I'm just going to work for everyone now.
And it cost them both for about 6 or 7 months there. It was real ugly between those two for a while. Yeah. And Phoenix couldn't work anywhere, and he had issues going to the Crash, and Dorian wasn't making any money off of him, and it was holding up Lucha Underground stuff. Like, it got ugly between those guys for a minute, but it all worked out in the end. And now we can laugh about it. But Phoenix was a guy that they put a lot of push on. We're only 8 episodes in, and we've seen Phoenix go over on some top guys. We've seen him get the rub multiple times. And here's another one. There's 10 guys in this match, and I love it because it sets up what has become one of the quintessential Lucha Underground feuds moving forward. So the second match, we get the short version of the cage package. Then we get the first
like a PNC commercial.
Yeah, but I mean, the episode before this, they showed the long version of that commercial. This is like, hey, don't forget, we still have big white dudes that can flip tires coming. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the point of it was, but it was there, and we know that Cage is still coming at this point. And who better than Cage? So vignette number 1.
Peace Canyon.
I know. The Conan thing. This, again, I'm loving what they do with Conan's character at the beginning, because Conan is like still playing full heel, but he's playing full heel manager to a babyface, which is really interesting dynamic. This whole, do you know how many people would be happy to have me as a mentor line rolls right off of Conan's tongue for God only knows what reason. But
practice.
It's weird how they keep sneaking backstage footage of Conan talking to his.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, what did they do? Like, DJ just put a tape recorder in Conan's locker and then just wrote those as lines into the script. I love this. And there's nothing much else to say about it. I like the whole, like, they're building something here. You feel the tension. And I like the fact that you don't hear anything from Ricochet, Puma, whatever you want to call him. So the only way to convey what his sentiment about this stuff is through his in-ring actions, through him shaking hands with Mundo or running in to save somebody or kind of going against what Conan says. You get all the talking from Conan, but just all of the action from Puma. I think it was a genius way to just kind of write this story, and kudos to DJ and Roach and those guys for doing it. All right, this Boyle Heights Battle Royal. I just have to say it had some moments. There were some things I liked, but for the most part, for me,
yeah, it's
one of my least favorite Lucha Underground matches.
Is it because Sexy Star's in the match?
No, it's because Famous B gets eliminated by Pimpy. That just hurt me.
I mean, I do like how they're peppering in how Dario more than anything, he's kind of a prick looking for his own amusement, Yeah. And so he's trying to do a champ, and you're like, before you can like really get behind him and like trying to set up this huge spectacle, he's just making up rules as he goes. And you're gonna see, later when he gives Drago an opportunity, like, and in this match where the two winners fight, like, yeah, you're gonna get opportunities. His whole
was this
gimmick,
the first episode where he ever said unique opportunity?
I
think so, yeah.
Because they really made it into kind of a gimmick right here. And then commentary in the next episode, I think they start referencing it more. But, he kind of trademarks this being the unique opportunity, even though we saw that with the briefcase.
But you're making it deal with the devil.
But that's the swerve here, and it's great because all you get from Dario from here on out is pretty much like, hey, I'm going to give you a unique opportunity. And that just means that, like, yeah, I'm going to do something for you, but it's just totally for my benefit. You can take it or leave it, and that's take your chances. And most of the times, the unique opportunities end up not really paying off for a lot of people. Every now and then they do, but a lot of times it's just like with this scenario, it's like, oh yeah, your unique opportunity is you get to start before everybody else in this battle royal thing I've got coming up. You know,
it's great though. It's like all or nothing.
It's unique. He didn't lie. It's totally unique. It's an opportunity no one else is getting.
They did a lot. I wonder if they did the over the top gimmick so they could have Mundo do all of his skinning the cat.
Probably.
Oh my God! So I got to the point where I stopped counting the variety of ways that he had skinned the cat here. This was like for every time that Kofi has not touched the floor in the Royal Rumble in WWE, John Morrison did all of his skinning the cats all at once. Like Kofi did that over like 5 or 6 years. John did them all in this one match. He did two or three different foot hangs. Like he's skinning the cat within the first 30 seconds of the match. He's just looking at guys like, yeah, throw me over. I got a hold. Like that's all he did the whole match. It was hilarious. So what was the high spot of this match? I don't know.
I'm looking at my notes.
Cisco and Bale being eliminated by Chavo. I don't know.
Can't see what that says.
It says nothing, Jim.
Okay. Done.
For the listening audience, Meef was showing a notepad to the webcam.
Well, so we get Mill and we get Phoenix is the moral of the story, right?
Yeah.
Still laughing at that. He has such a funny accent.
And they have to face off against each other, and the winner gets to go last in Aztec Warfare, and the loser gets to go foist.
I love Dario with the I got punched in the face sunglasses.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they're kind of feeling Dario out here. What I don't like is the terrible music cue that they have for him that starts off with this like mariachi kind of thing, and then goes into but then it goes into like this bad EDM metal song. I don't know what it is. It does not fit his character at all.
So going to live shows, we never really connected their entrance music except for Pentagon's music, I think, to the wrestlers. And I was trying to download their themes for my Fire Pro Wrestling game. And I would start listening to them. And it's all just like generic, like sort of like prog rock on a Lucha show.
I've talked to Eric about it too. And it's like literally they had this one library that they were allowed to use for this show. And they went over it for weeks and weeks and weeks to try to find enough songs, first of all, and then to find ones that didn't suck. And then to move them around and put like, oh my God, this guy's going to win so many matches and we're going to need so much music. Because at first they were thinking too, they were going to have to drop in cues every time they won. And you notice by season 2 or the end of season 2, they just start using the live band music instead of these needle drop cues because so many of them are terrible. So many wrestlers had a song and it goes away. Penta's stuck, a couple others stuck, Cage is stuck, I think, of Taya's. A few of them stuck, but a bunch of them gone.
You couldn't find Puma's?
No, Puma's is gone, I think, by the end of second season. They just used whatever house band music for him. Anyway, so you get the match. It goes the way I feel like it should go at this point in time. And, you know, you're making Phoenix into this kind of underdog character. You're making Mill into the monster that he is. And this was a good match. I like this match. This kind of saved the episode for me.
That's great. I love the finish where it was a high spot into a punch in the face that goes to the flatline. I think it made sense. I also think it opened it up to like, you know, it was like a catch or like a flash ending with a punch, you know, like he caught Phoenix could still have a chance. Just don't make that one mistake again.
Yeah, I thought the end of the match was a little strange to me with the lick of death and then Mill kissing Katrina. I don't know if that was him taking liberties or if that was planned. I don't know. It looked like
they were doing that at first.
This seemed like it was the first time to me though, and it was like it was more than I was expecting. Let's just say that. The lick of death I understood. This was another stand-up one. She does a lick of death on him, but then it's like Mill looks at her and he's like, "Ooh, give me some of that," kind of moment. And I was just kind of like,
snowball.
Yeah, like that's what it was. It was totally a Mill Katrina Phoenix snowball scene. Like that is some raunchy pornographic material.
Yeah. No, I swear it's happened.
And once before this?
Yeah, and it goes away, but like
Famous Bey It happened with as well.
Maybe.
Sure,
but with the snowball afterwards?
Yeah.
Jim just looking at me like, man, stop saying snowball.
Yeah, we need to stop talking about snowballs.
You don't want to tell them what a snowball is?
No,
We
it's
don't
fine.
have Casey to explain.
No,
Casey
would have explained it by now. We don't need that. Look it up. Urban Dictionary if you need to know.
It seems so awkward, but it's like they're totally like swapping spit the entire time. His whole mask is dripping waterfalls of sweat all over her. It's just.
And Carly's right for it. Like, we really got to get Carly on this show one of these days and talk to her about that, because you want to talk about taking bumps. That is her taking a bump for everyone else.
Super kick.
That's in the next episode.
Oh.
You're jumping ahead. Hey, come back next week if you want to hear about Katrina taking a super kick.
Or does she?
Does Cage win the belt, or does he?
When are we going to find out when Cage won the Lucha Underground Championship? It's the biggest rage, aside from the other stuff, on Twitter right now.
If you don't know, Cage has posted a picture with the second Lucha Underground belt, not the first title that he shredded, and says he's the champ. Now that he's kind of hyping up his AEW run, and which has led people to question, where can I see Brian Cage becoming the Lucha Underground champion? And to that I say,
never.
Open up Tubi and just start watching episodes. Then when you get to the end, go back and watch the episodes again. And then when you're done with that, come and watch our show and we'll talk about it. We will definitely be talking about the episode where Brian Cage gets the strap right here. Eventually, maybe.
That's up to some guy who asked him, and I tweeted at him.
That's
I'm like, hey, check out the.
I love that nobody has answered that dude's question straight up.
Does this mean that we're trios champions?
Yes.
Yeah.
This legit means we're trios champions
because we took a picture with those belts. I think that also makes some of us a Lucha Underground champion as well.
Yeah, I'm a Lucha Underground champion, and I'm a triple threat winner. And
you are a triple threat. Here it is.
Triple crown winner.
First. Yeah. Jimmy V, triple crown Lucha Underground winner. Take that, Phoenix.
Justin doesn't count because he can't hold a belt.
No. I clearly was holding it like a manager.
And Gift of the Gods Champions podcast.
The
podcast has 4 belts in us.
I was just walking the belt to the ring for the champ. I hold a belt like Bill Alfonso as a shitty manager.
I'm ready in Milwaukee. Let's go.
Let's talk real quick about the last vignette. This is another Dario at the cell moment with Mil Muertes. He has, Matanza. Thank you. The other M monster. Oh, there it is. Look at all those belts.
Hold on.
The trios champs have arrived.
Just look how Justin holds that belt.
Yeah.
All the way over the shoulder.
Part.
Clearly not a champion. I mean, it's not what I was bred for. I mean, have you ever seen a kickboxing belt? They're like elastic with like one medallion in the middle.
Byron looks like a really creepy baseball coach.
Yeah, fast pitch softball coach. I wouldn't even call him a baseball coach. He's a fast pitch softball coach.
What was that thing? What was that TV show you had over there with Danny? Is it Danny McBride?
Oh, Eastbound and Down.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so I like that last little segment. I like that they're still teasing Matanza. We'll see him eventually.
Isn't it amazing? We're starting season 1 and they've started teasing Matanza, and we know when we actually see him.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like if you're doing the rewatch with us and you've never watched Lucha Underground before, I'm just going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, if you're expecting to see Matanza anytime soon, don't. It's going to be about 23 more episodes, I think. Or maybe even more than that. It's a long time. And you just get a lot of Dario down in the basement with the key talking to and DJ and hey, so there's one other topic I want to talk about before we wrap up today. I know we were talking a little bit about Street Profits before, but I want to talk about Chris Bey versus Willie Mack in Impact. If you guys haven't seen Chris Bey, check this guy out right now. And I'll tell you, honestly, Impact, there isn't a ton of a show left there, man. They've been pretty much decimated, but what it's done is they do have a roster there. There's a lot of indie level guys on there that are the guys that probably should have always been on there for the way that they're currently doing it. But man, I got to tell you, I didn't know who 30 or 40% of the people were on last week. And I thought it was a great show. I thought they were using some of the veterans like Shamrock and some of the other people are around. I thought they were using them great. And then, holy shit, Bey comes out and just looks like $1 million fucking bucks. The kid bumps, he jumps and flies. I think I even tweeted at him like, nobody bumps and jumps like Chris Bey. And I've seen the kid do stuff in Vegas and out here in Mav Pro, and I've seen him work cross and some other guys. I've seen him work.
He had a really good program with cross.
It's Maverick Wrestling, no longer Mav Pro.
Maverick Pro, right. When I saw him, it was Mav Pro.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but yeah, like, you want to talk about how BLM might have a good impact? I hope it means that guys like Chris Bey get a second look. And I'm not saying it needs to be like some kind of affirmative action of all of a sudden pushing every black dude to a belt. But at the same time, I think if they put the X Division belt on Bey, as much as I love Willie Mack, and don't get me wrong, I think he's great.
Oh, Willie Mack rules.
But at the same time, I think Bey is exactly the kind of guy, a belt like that, throughout the course of time in Impact when it was TNA or whatnot, he's the kind of guy that should have it. Just like AJ Styles was the guy that should have had it way back then. He's the guy that's going to hang from the X Cross and do a flip bump from it and be safe and do good work doing it and is the right size and stature for it. He is the guy that the X Division was meant for. You know, I love that they've done a lot of the non-traditional looks and guys like Cage and Willie Mack and whatnot recently kind of going through that division. But let's go back now. Put it on Bey. Let's see what the kid can do. Give him a big push. He's great. He's very charismatic. His mic skills are on point now. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to entertain. He's doing right now what I loved about Swerve when Swerve was doing like the Wrestle Circus stuff and that kind of tour that he was on right after Lucha Underground for him.
And MLW.
Yeah. Like Swerve was the hotness at the time, and he would have been a great champ then. Like, I don't know where he goes now because I feel like the shine is off of him right now with WWE. I don't know how you get the Swerve magic back.
Bring a Fox in.
I don't know. You should really go back and watch this past week's episode of 205 Live. Him versus Tony Nese was pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, but that's Tony Nese, and that's also 205 Live. Both.
Yeah, of those and that's the hard part too, and that's the tough thing for a guy like Bey. Like Bey is smaller. He really is. Like if you saw him up against Cross, it was kind of like this doesn't even look right at first. And Swerve is having a little bit of that now, whereas Swerve in Lucha Underground was the median average size of every performer. He's in WWE now. He is a cruiserweight. He is not going to look right standing next to Drew McIntyre. You know,
Swerve had that. Lucha Underground had that sort of ECW thing where like you would see these guys come up and you would, as fans, watch and grow with them. And Swerve came in as a guy who, like a lot of the other guys who sucked, who would like potato dudes with his shoes, and you know when he'd stomp on them. But then you start seeing him getting better and better, and by the end you're championing him because he's super awesome.
Can I just say, oh no, you didn't. You did that. You just did that.
And the thing is, only a handful of people were actually there to witness it. So
I know it's amazing, an amazing reference what you just did there.
It's like a double callback.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Byron is referencing, you don't get to know. It's amazing. No, but Swerve, like, look, you know me. I'm a huge Swerve fan. I'm a huge Killshot fan. I loved that gimmick too. Yeah. Like we'll see what they do, but I'm championing Chris Bey right now. I'm telling you right now. I hope he gets the strap at Slammiversary, and then I hope Willie Mack comes on our show and talks shit about him.
I would like both of those. And how I just wanted to add, you used the words affirmative action with you know, the BLM thing and Chris Bey. And I think if you watch or if you went to Chris Bey's social media, you would see like this guy has been working so hard. And it's not like posting memes about working hard. Like he'll post video of him literally at 1 a.m. because he's at like the FSW gym working out at 1 a.m. in the ring, doing shit like running the ropes, doing moonsaults. Like,
but not even just doing the work, like trying to come up with new things every time.
Like I've seen him break the ring from working out. Much.
Like, he was trying to do that double jump moonsault off the top rope and broke the whole damn shit.
He's earned this is a guy you want to invest your company.
I hope so. And it's weird too. Like, just closing out the whole Black Lives Matter thing is so strange, where you want to avoid a certain amount of affirmative action and tokenism and these things that haven't worked out so great. Because I do still believe that qualified people should have the right positions, but at the same time, there's catching up to do. And it's like, how do you get the right people in the right positions? And with women's wrestling too, like we've talked to Thunder Rosa today, we were talking about the speaking out movement. Like, you don't want to say that affirmative action is the right call, that you just level the playing field and put inexperienced people in a position of power. But what you do need to do is exactly what Mel is doing. You need to create a system that allows people to be built up so that they are right in having those positions of power later, not just handing the power, from the old generation of all white males to just blacks and females and whatnot. But let's give us the opportunities to build into those positions the right way without holding back those people. And then you get, the right people for the jobs in there without just being reactionary, without just trying to turn over the billboard to a new sign the next day. And that's where wrestling really needs to go. That's what really needs to happen. We need new voices. We need new people with the power, with the information, that are ready to do the right thing. And it has nothing to do with kicking out anybody who's already there, who's earned their spot, who has been doing right by the wrestling world. It has to do with adding to what they do with new voices and new levels of excitement, new ideas, new enthusiasm, and doing things the new right way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's from both of us.
Well,
that comes from both of us.
Like I was going to say about the thing with society is basically what society needs to do is for BL, Black Lives Matter, etc. Is you start from the very beginning. It's school, it's society, so that when it comes to education and these jobs, now there's a lot of black people who aren't in the position of being lawyers and stuff because the kids who they grew up with alongside them had to drop out of schools or whatever because of society issues or whatever in the home. So if everybody lives in equal socialist, I said it, fucking communism. Everybody needs to be equal, and society needs to be, free from the chains of everything, so that healthcare is free. Everybody has the same opportunity, the same chances of getting access to education and welfare and medical and everything, so that everybody can grow. And the thing is from that, you'll have a society that produces better quality food, better quality people, better quality everything, and everybody will be able to live a more peaceful and happy life amongst each other.
Byron, how come you didn't start the patriotic music?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, because you don't know what British patriotic music is, right?
Don't play British patriotic music. It's called racism in it.
Is it the opening to the Graham Norton show? Or
yeah, really? Is that the most patriotic? It's the Benny Hill
God Save
song.
the Queen by the Sex Pistols.
We start talking about the plight of other people. We start talking about the plight of other people, and as a white male, I just get really fucking bored about it.
I appreciate all of that.
How much he's going to get taxed now.
Well, look, thank you guys all for joining us. We better go and find Lucha Gringo and make sure that he's okay.
Everyone tweet him, ask him if he's okay.
Yeah, are you okay?
That's his next T-shirt.
The next T-shirt is the old T-shirt. We're bringing back Where is Casey? Anyway,
Jim's get one.
We have to stall until he comes back. I do want to say representation matters a lot, and I think not that I would really.
Did you just say Casey Lives Matter? Is that what you said?
No. Fool. I will not say that.
I said Casey. Is Casey okay?
You said kayfabe lives matter. Gotcha. Understand.
There
it is. Bringing it back. Where is Casey? I know exactly where Casey is. He's on some other podcast today, son of a bitch.
He's playing Predator.
Never going to let him live it down. Yeah, but he got up early and talked about wrestling somewhere else today. So, Casey, you're on the wall of shame. I'm adding Casey.
Just for this week.
Wall of shame.
Just so he comes back next week to fight you.
I'm telling you, wall of shame right here. I'm adding Lucha Gringo. He can defend himself next week if he shows up. Right under Tesla, it goes JoJo Feeney, Britt Wrestling, Jeffrey Briggs, JT Wilcoxon, Tessa Blanchard, Lucha Gringo. That is the complete wall of shame.
I want to end on a note where it's about me.
Where it's about you?
No, I'm just,
the dual so Phantasma mask.
So for the Outlaw LA Red, for the Jimmy V, for @Meatloaf, for @Byron Fever. Until next time, stay calm, man. Stay in the mix.
Penis.